A lot is already happening in my motherland of Haiti. So although it has been over a year since the coronavirus pandemic began, Haiti still has yet to receive a single dose of any vaccines for the nation's 11 million people. So far, Haiti is slated to receive only 756,000 doses through a United Nations program. I'll get to that in a second. These doses should have been delivered by May at the latest. However, the Haitian government missed a deadline set by the vaccine's manufacturer, and they'll now have to wait even longer. And I believe they're going to get the AstraZeneca one they were approved for the AstraZeneca. Wow. Meanwhile, a recent report cited by the U.S. State Department found that Haiti's government had misappropriated, and I'm going to get to that as well, had misappropriated more than $1 million worth of coronavirus aid. Haiti has had at least 12,700 cases and 250 deaths, with many experts believing that those figures are not representative of how widespread COVID is in Haiti. Ongoing protests, a spike in kidnappings and mass gang violence, besides just the lack of available vaccines, have left many Haitians wondering how any vaccines will be administered in the coming months, even years. So I just want to start off with the fact that Haiti has still yet to receive any vaccines for the people. So
that's crazy. Yeah.
So they're only set to receive 756,000, right? And that's through a United Nations program.
For 11 million people.
For 11 million people. And I just discussed how the U.S. has been putting their hands, feet, whole body into the business of Haiti. And more recently, we were promised by Joe Biden. Haiti was promised by Joe Biden that assistance would come, help would come once he got into the White House, but nothing but more turmoil has come. So they've had to take it to the streets themselves to look for their own freedom. And, Haiti's known for it. It seems like it's just a lot happening here, but I don't like the way they try to frame these conversations. Like here, what I'm reading now is something that's from the AP news. And what's happening is, I love that they're pointing this out, that only 756,000 doses were approved through the United Nations program. And I believe, again, that's the AstraZeneca. I hope I'm saying that correctly, but that vaccine. But they had to come in and say that Haiti's government had misappropriated more than $1 million worth of the coronavirus aid. So they had to point that out. And I feel like when they point that out, it's kind of like, it's not our fault. It's nothing in the fault of the U.S. It's like, this is why they can't get it. This is why they can't get it, because they have all this going on. But it's just one of those things that they have to make excuses for why Haiti can't get assistance once again. Now, so many things have been happening in Haiti during this time. Yes, it has been the protests and the kidnappings and things like that, which is another issue in itself, which literally I believe is assisting in the spikes of coronavirus, people getting coronavirus. And I definitely understand that. People are fighting for their lives right now in many different ways. But there's so much more going on. I feel like there's still people that are getting sent out there for a while from America and stuff like that, where they're finding ways to set up concerts and be okay and go there, get their money and leave. So I believe that in some places, in some ways, there can be, it's just, to me, it's just an easy way, an easy cop out to say Haiti is in this condition. So this is why we're just sending them 756,000. And this is it. The UN is going to be their only help. And we're giving them help. They doing all this in the country. And so we can't really give them any assistance. And that's how I see it.
Yeah.
Sorry, go ahead.
Go ahead, James.
I was going to wonder, I'm wondering, what are the numbers like in the Dominican Republic? I know that they're neighboring areas. So how many vaccine doses have they received, and what kind of aid are they receiving versus what Haiti is? Because, it always looks like Haiti is always getting the short end of the stick for several years. And
the whole
never seen from Dominican Republic. And that's like, that's always been something that I've always noticed. And it really makes no sense.
Here's the other thing. Here's the other thing, though. Like, I like the way, and by like, I mean, I'm being sarcastic as hell, that they're blaming the misappropriation of funds as a reason to justify, I guess, them not getting the vaccines yet, or the limited amount of vaccines that they're going to get, because 756,000 for 11 million people, y'all not even really trying. And I'm not talking to Haiti. I'm talking about to the UN. I'm talking about to the global community. And I'm specifically talking about the United States of America, because how is it that the United States is backing this current government that did the misappropriation?
Yep.
When the current government is the government that the people of Haiti is saying they got to go. And now they're blaming this misappropriation on the fact that they're not going to get all these vaccines. Like you see the game that's being played. It's like, if y'all have a problem with the misappropriation, then stop backing the leadership that's misappropriating the funds and help the people. Does that make sense?
That makes all the sense, and that's what I'm saying. The way that they're framing it. So they started off with the fact of the situation, and that's basically that they're not gonna they're not gonna get it. They haven't gotten it, and then also blame them because they, under what's going on right now. You think these people are worried about sending the whatever paperwork needed to be sent at the time? They couldn't. I feel like they could not wait to not assist. So just because they didn't reach the deadline, they said they didn't reach a deadline, so they're supposed to get it in May. We haven't even reached May yet. They're supposed to get it in May, so they may not get it until the end of the year. They may not get it in, they don't know when they're going to get it. And then the amount isn't even going to go to, it's probably going to go to the places that are well off in Haiti.
So, wait a minute. Look at this shit. I'm sorry, Rebecca, I just Googled this. Dominican Republic, there have been 1.1 million vaccines doses given. There's 102,000 people who are fully vaccinated. And Haiti ain't got none.
Hey, mind you, same island, same place, literally just separated by a wall, right? And then just the other day, we were talking about this again on social media. This is a conversation that always comes up. And somebody was saying, well, the Haiti keeps bringing over their issues over here and making us suffer for it. So we need to leave them out while we're taken care of. And here's my issue with that. It's like, you have to understand, this is something that's also systemic. Just because we fought for our freedom, and I'm talking about way back when we fought for our freedom, and we owed France to this day. That it's almost like we owed France for our freedom that we fought for and won. But them over on the other side, because they had some form of acceptance to that, even though we helped them reach their freedom. They had some form of acceptance and to that European ownership. They were like, okay, we're going to take care of this particular side of the island. And on the other one, because you don't want nothing to do, you don't want any help. You guys want to be free from ownership, slavery. You guys want to be free from that. We're going to make you pay for it, since you already won and killed us off, and you definitely won your freedom, but now we're going to make you pay for it. And we've been paying ever since. So no matter what happens, even in a lot of these articles, the way that they start is literally the poorest country in the Western Hemisphere. That's how they start, because that's what gets everybody going, like, oh, look at all what's happening. And then they start to talk about, oh, they're over there fighting and there's nothing really happening. They're fighting a government that they need. What you don't understand that's not the case. They're fighting for freedom. They're fighting for a government to hear them out. They're fighting because they believed in Joe Biden, right? Who's here and saying he's taking care of everybody here, but deporting Haitians back to Haiti, where they're not giving them vaccines. They're not giving them vaccines. Wow. And then in the same breath, saying that he's going to help them and not help them. So they had to hit the streets themselves. So they may be exposed to this stuff. And then now they're being told, because they're fighting for their freedom, they're not going to get any assistance because they're out there fighting for their freedom. Like they shouldn't be out there fighting for their freedom against a corrupt government. And the United States is not assisting them. United States isn't assisting them, although that was Joe Biden's promise before he got into the White House back in November. He said he would assist if he won presidency. He said he would listen to the people, and that is not the case. The United Nations, who really doesn't give a damn about Haiti for real, it's just like, oh, we'll help you because it sounds good, right? It's been years that we've been saying this, and we give you whatever's trickled all the way down, which is like leftovers. We give you that. And we say that we assisted you. So the 756,000 vaccines that are probably never going to reach them, and if they do, they're going to go to the well-off areas, like resorts areas where the white folks go and just live and things like that. But they're going to say that we tried to help you guys then, and that to us is enough. But that's not enough. And everybody knows that's not enough. We look like, and I need people to understand when the Haitians are out there fighting, and it's also because they aren't educated that they can get assistance in this way either, right? They're out there fighting for something, and then people are saying, well, they don't care about it. They don't want to care about it. No, that's because you guys don't even want to get involved, get representation out there to get the people to understand that they can get COVID vaccines. You think they know it's free over there? You think that they know it's free over there? You think they know it's available to them? It would be.
But that's the thing. I just can't. It's colonialism just in another way. It's literally what we've seen through world history, and they have leaders that are installed into power who are clearly not there for the benefit of the people, and they leave that figurehead in power to do the bidding of the global community, of the global superpowers. In this case, the United States of America, right? And you said something, Rebecca, the United Nations, for any of the good that it does, this is the place where, in the global South particularly, this is where it shows that it's nothing more than an extension of American imperialism. And by that, this is what I mean very specifically. The UN is not going to override the United States because, first of all, the UN is run by the United States and the Security Council, but they're not going to override it for the purposes of ensuring that the third world, or rather the global South, is going to get access to the vaccine in a timely fashion and for free. No, they are going to, the United States is hogging, and I don't want to necessarily be careful, but I want to just parse this carefully. All the vaccines are coming to the United States right now. I know we're the beneficiaries of that, but we are literally hoarding and in some cases wasting the vaccines that need to be spread across the globe. And we did a story last week where we were discussing whether or not the patents could be done away with in order for other organizations to create the vaccines. And we are literally in a situation where all these corporations, Pfizer, Moderna, everybody's in love with Pfizer, Moderna, Johnson & Johnson, and AstraZeneca. We're doing skits about them, and they're cute skits, and we're grateful for the vaccines, but they are holding the international community hostage. And we can see this playing itself out right in Haiti, because they're only going to give Haiti 756,000 vaccines for a community or nation of 11 million people. And here in the United States, every single day, there are vaccines that are thrown away. That should just show you the real structure of this global order. And it has always come at the expense of black countries in particular, and brown countries as well. And then Haiti, we're seeing that play itself out. So to me, it's colonization just by another way of doing it.
It's colonization, and then for the way that they're representing it in the media here, I have to peel back those layers, because when you read those things, that's what people will understand. Oh, they deserve what's happening to them because they are rioting. There's this happening there, there's this happening there, but there's so much more to it. I need you guys to understand that. So anyways, It's hashtag free Haiti until we say it backwards. Haiti is free.
Yeah. Amen to that. 1.1 million doses just across the other side of the fence on the island.
And that they think that's, and again, they think that is normal. They want us to look at that and be like, come on, yeah.
There's nothing wrong with that.
It's normal. It's definitely, look at Haiti. Look at what they're doing. Look how it is over there.
You know who's going to come through?
Who?
Cuba gonna come through for Haiti.
They stay coming through, but you know that Haiti's connection with Cuba is so real. Like the second most spoken language in Cuba is Creole, Haitian Creole. So our relationship with Cuba is real. You know who also will try to give us assistance? China. So and I'm telling you right now, if you think like the few people who do have a say so in a good heart, the few people in the Haitian government, don't want to connect and figure out a way to connect with those people, you got something else coming. Help they will receive, because Haitians know where good help will come from. They definitely do. So
it's gonna come from them scary. It's gonna come from them scary communist nations that everybody wants us to be terrified of. But at the end of the day, when America was pillaging and plundering, and the United Nations and the global community is taking advantage of the global South, we see who comes through for the global South. So
Yeah,
solidarity.
and at the end of the day, that's my mother's land, and I want it to be safe. I do not want it to, because that's what everybody just assumes will happen to those places, and I like those black countries, because America says they are not worth vaccines, they are not worth assistance, they are protesting, so they are they have no class. They don't understand what a real fight looks like. So
Because they don't see them as real humans.
they don't see the same way here in America when black people protest with Black Lives Matter. We are not looked at as humans. So that's why they don't think that we deserve assistance. That's why we are in things and we're watching things like the Chauvin trial for so long, because they don't think that it's worth just saying with the evidence that this man deserves to go to jail. This man is a murderer. They think that they have to drag us through the whole process to make us relive that over and over again. And to say that he couldn't have possibly died from a knee to the neck. It was from a drug overdose. It had to be because he's black.
And they have spent and invested. The global superpowers, particularly the United States of America, right? Western civilization, right? All this stuff that these pasty conservative white folks are out here championing, they have spent centuries and trillions of dollars to make sure that you don't look at black and brown people the same way as you look at white people. This is why what we see in Haiti is happening. This is why you can have an entire school of children murdered in cold blood in an African nation, and it won't even get coverage here in the United States of America. You know why? But it's not because we don't have an international outlook, because let 10, 20 people get killed in France, and it'll be wall-to-wall coverage here in the United States of America. That's because ingrained in this system, it has always been because how else do you justify subjugating an entire race of people through slavery and global colonialism? The only way you could get away with that is by making sure that all the good-meaning liberals and the good-meaning white people and the good-meaning Christians don't see the people who they have enslaved and colonized as human beings. And you think 3, 4, 5, 600 years of that is just going to go away because we abolished slavery, because we got rid of Jim Crow laws? Oh, guess what? They're coming right back here in the state of Georgia. They're able, and the fact that Derek Chauvin could very well get away with murder, though the entire world saw him put his knee on that man's neck. The way they're able to get away with it is because they have invested their entire existence in making sure that you don't look at a black person, let alone definitely not a black nation, and see it as human beings equal to us. And that's what America, that's what the global powers, that's what colonization did. And we are still dealing with it to this day. So,
yeah, well, that's that. I mean, I think that at the end of the day, it doesn't matter. And this is what I love about Haiti. And then we'll take it out of here. But Haiti is not going to stop. They've never been one to stop. They've been trying, and it doesn't matter. Like it does not matter what people say or how people view it or how people feel. The people who are there on the ground. It's even some Haitians who removed themselves from Haiti who have now taken on that. How we always say that white supremacy mindset. And it's like, oh, they can't help themselves. Sir, you came here on a boat with everybody's uncle and auntie, and you made yourself something. Don't try it. Okay.
Got lucky.
Don't try.
Stole
You got
hustled.
lucky, because there's a lot of people who didn't make it on that boat ride with you.
Right.
So don't play. And so, they seem to forget. And I had this conversation with somebody who's now, a restaurant owner here, and I had to get them together. Like, don't forget, bro, your accent is still very heavy. So when you speak with those white folks, they gonna look at you crazy. They gonna still see you as one of them, because no matter what, you are one of them. And when you do go back home, they're still fighting. They're fighting. Do you understand that your family is still there? You're like first generation. They're still fighting.